Socrates, why are you doing this? Why are you letting them do this to you?
My dearest friend, don't you see? I have made the sincerest of agreements with our great city of Athens and the laws that govern it.
And what exactly is that?
We've lived here all our lives, and hasn't the city provided for us and treated us well?
It certainly has.
Yes. Suppose I was to flee, and the city approached me saying, "We gave you birth, upbringing, and education, and have provided you as well as every other citizen with a share of all the fine things we could." Would that not be the truth?
It would indeed be true.
And by living here, do we not owe a certain debt of gratitude to our beloved city?
I suppose we do.
And you see, this debt of gratitude takes the form of an agreement between a resident and his city, whereby all citizens must abide by the laws of their city. For a city whose laws are discarded whenever one finds it convenient is no city at all. Wouldn't you agree?
I would most definitely agree.
Any man would agree breaking an agreement is unjust.
Why, yes, certainly.
And discarding the laws and choosing to flee would be a violation of such an agreement.
Of course.
And therefore, are we not committed to living virtuous lives?
We are.
And breaking an agreement with our most reverend city would not be a virtuous act. Thus, it is not right for a man like myself, who attempts to lead a virtuous life, to flee my sentence. I'm sorry, my dear friend, but I have no choice but to drink the poison. Goodbye.
But wait, Socrates. On the contrary, you can't die just yet. Your death would result in many misfortunes falling upon our city. You'd be leaving behind your fellow Athenians and students whose lives would diminish without you. Furthermore, your death could start a destructive trend of good men like yourself being imprisoned and killed by less virtuous men.
How so, my good friend? I don't seem to understand.
Allow me to explain. First, have you not stated that it's wrong, you have stated that it's wrong to break an agreement, correct?
Why, yes, it certainly is.
Very well. Another question. Could this same thing not happen to another good man where he is tried and convicted of a crime he did not commit by dishonorable men due to his commitment to virtue?
Yes, this perhaps could happen.
If a council was able to sentence you to death based on false allegations because they don't have the same morality as you, isn't it feasible that they could do the same to a similar man?
Why, yes, this is true.
And if they did the same injustice to all men like yourself who were attempting to live virtuous lives, then there would be no good men. Yes, you would answer, I assume. Now another question. Who do children learn from? They learn from those they look up to, correct? And they look up to adults, do they not?
Yes, they do.
So, we've established that children learn from those that they look up to, and children look up to their fathers and other adults, other males in society. So naturally, we would want these fathers and adults to be virtuous and just men. Yet, if all men are imprisoned by unjust men, or if all the just men are imprisoned by unjust men, like you have been, who will be left to raise the children?
Well, I guess it's the men without honor.
And Socrates, my good man, would that not be corrupting the youth, leaving them in the hands of men without virtue to raise them?
Crito, I guess you're right. I suppose it would be.
So, given these circumstances, would it be acceptable to break this agreement in order to save the youth?
I guess you make an interesting point.
Thank you, but I have one more line of questioning. So you say you have agreed to abide by the laws of the city by staying here?
Yes.
And all agreements must be voluntary, correct? You
Yes.
can't be coerced for an agreement. You can't be coerced for an agreement to be valid.
Yes, this is true.
Okay, good. So anyone who stays in a city is agreeing to abide by its laws.
I would certainly say so.
And anyone who doesn't wish to abide by a city's laws must leave the city, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Certainly you would agree that it is very hard for poor people, especially those with families, to leave a city and start a new life. Imagine a scenario. A man works as a blacksmith making little money, trying to support his many children and wife. He uses his only money to buy food and shelter, but then one day the city tells him he must pay more in taxes. He tells the city of his struggles financially, and the city tells him he is free to leave and go somewhere else. The blacksmith knows if he leaves Athens, he will have no job and no place to live, and as a result his family will starve. Thus, he is faced with the choice of consent or starve and die.
I would say that is fair to say yes.
In this case, it certainly wouldn't be reasonable to say that he has voluntarily agreed to the laws by staying put.
Well, yes, you make a good point.
Thus, the agreement isn't valid since it wasn't voluntary.
Ah, I see now.
So now it is rational to say that by staying in Athens, you yourself have not consented to these laws willingly because the consequence for disobeying is unreasonable.
Oh, now I see what you're saying.
Okay, yes. So in conclusion, we have established that first, in certain situations, it is acceptable to break an agreement. Like in this situation, where not breaking the agreement would result in corruption of the youth. And second, you have not actually agreed to anything with the city by staying here because it was not voluntary. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I would agree.
All right, good. Now come on, Socrates. Let's get you out of here.
All right.